fun to be here today as a visitor. That's exciting. So as I was sitting here, I recalled, correct me if I'm wrong, Don, it's your birthday today, right?
Oh, right.
Good, happy birthday. So it is St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day. I suppose a little story about St. Patrick would be in order. So he's the patron saint of Ireland, but not born in Ireland, born in Britain, interestingly enough. However, he was kidnapped by Irish pirates at 14 and sold into slavery. And he was a slave for about 6 years. He began to have dreams and visions and escaped slavery and ended up going to the priesthood, feeling called back to Ireland. So he followed that call and spent his years bringing Christianity to Ireland and building churches and schools. And so the story goes that he drove snakes out of Ireland, but we know there were never snakes in Ireland, so it's just another wonderful allegory with the deeper meaning of that he drove pagans and druids out of Ireland. So it's always nice to think of the deeper meaning in these stories. So, however you spend St. Patrick's Day, blessings. I have a corned beef and cabbage in the slow cooker as our traditional meal. So I will start us with a little St. Patrick's Day joke, which goes like this. Why don't you iron a 4-leaf clover? Because you don't want to press your luck. Okay, so some of you laughed, some of you gave me the stare like my 10-year-old daughter did, like, Mom, that is not funny. And so it goes with jokes. One will laugh hysterically, and someone else will just not even crack a smile. And that's because we all take the content and interpret it from our own view, our own filter. So we see the world through our perspective. And how fast does this happen? Lickety-split, like super fast. Somebody says something, something happens, there's an event, there's a circumstance, and then like a swift, invisible leprechaun coming through, this mechanism produces an immediate reaction, right? You're not really even thinking about it, just shows up. And here's where you will find your belief systems. And so for simplicity's sake, we'll call belief an assumed truth. An assumed truth. So Carl Jung wrote, it's very profound, thoroughly unprepared, we take the step into the afternoon of life. Worse still, we take the step with a false presupposition that our truths and our ideals will serve us hitherto. But we cannot live in the afternoon of life according to the program of life's morning. For what was great in the morning will be little at evening, and what was true in the morning will have become a lie at evening. So he says that the afternoon of our life represents a time when we move from a more ego-dominant way of being in the world into a space of opening up to deeper meaning, to traveling more inward. One might say this is our time where we expand our consciousness. We open up. And as we step into the afternoon of life, oftentimes we do see things differently. We see from different perspectives and we start to see things differently. However, we still have these old programs running and they pop up. They pop up and they can stop us from feeling inner peace. They can block our joy. So they often either trigger us to where we're feeling pleased or displeased. So today, I would just like to look at what do these programs and belief systems say to us? How are they operating? Realize how powerful they are. And then, finally, how do we restore ourselves back to our original programming? Jung says the afternoon of life is just as important and full of meaning as the morning. It's just that the meaning and purpose are different. So when I was a child, I believed believed in Santa Claus, and I believed in the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny and leprechauns. And it served me so well because it was magical and it was mystery, and I'd build leprechaun traps and write letters to Santa and make up stories, and it worked. And then as I stepped into the afternoon of my life, those beliefs don't really serve me anymore. Now, I don't mean anything against anyone that believes in leprechauns, because I did read that a third of Ireland believes in leprechauns, so we'll leave that one right there. So what do these programs say to us? So Krishnamurti says that the day that you teach the child the name of a bird is the day the child stops seeing the bird. They know what it is now, right? So these filters are formed. We develop them when we're told what's possible in life and what's not possible, and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, and what's beautiful or ugly or great or not great. And so I recently read, there was some research done, that the first years of our life are actually like a hypnotic state, where there's no filters, we're just taking everything in. There's so much to learn about being in the world. How do I function in my family? How do I function in school or when we go to the grocery store? And you're just absorbing everything without filter, taking it in. And so in the morning of our lives, when we're picking up all of this, we're building mental models of the world. And then we project that onto the world, those mental models that we create. We draw assumptions, we build paradigms of identity of who I am, who you are, how I'm treated, and how I will treat you. So I'm 4 years old and I'm loud, and I get smacked across the face. That creates a story, and then I learn how to be in the world in a certain way because of that experience. And this happens with everything. So we decide a lot early on in the morning of our lives. Maybe my childhood was chaotic, and to feel safe, I had to control every little thing, and I just keep this narrative going with every situation in life. This is what happens. Like, what do you believe about what is possible in your own life, what you can accomplish? The answers will vary from each person, from everything to nothing. And this all hinges on your narrative. Your narrative might be, I'm talented and I have a lot to offer the world, or I'm not so bright and nobody really cares what I have to offer anyway. And so what are those stories playing? I heard a story about a little boy whose mother had to work nights, and father came home. He's a construction worker, had to have a hearty meal. The boy cooked his dad a hearty steak and potatoes meal every night, and dad never shared a bite with him. Often he went to bed hungry. That boy grew up to be a man who made millions and had all kinds of cars and mansions and was miserable because his story was, his narrative was, I'm not worthy, my father didn't even share his food with me. Similar story, a girl's mother committed suicide. She found her mother, and her story the rest of her life is, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, mom didn't even stay alive for me. And that narrative carried forth, showed up in different ways, weaving throughout relationships and engagements all through life. So within religious communities, we have beliefs about this or that cause division. Politics, of course, we know. It's because the belief system often says, I'm right and you're wrong, and your belief makes me really uncomfortable, so just change your ways. Easy peasy. And of course, there's subtle, small beliefs, like why you shop at Rayleigh's or Winco or the farmer's market, or why you buy a Ford or a Toyota, or a myriad of things. So most people just have these autopilot reactions, and it's because it's an interpretation that your belief system has. And so it's a good idea to pay attention, because when that upset happens, it's usually because it's the belief system speaking to you, and so this is what is going on. So how do these systems run our lives? So our minds like what's familiar, and they don't like what's not familiar. So we see this a lot with the rags to riches to rags stories. The people that win the lottery, and then you check in with them a couple years later and they're broke. It's like, what happened? Well, they never updated their program, their mental model of the world. They still lived with scarcity thinking and lack mentality, and so they're back to where they were. So we beat the drum of old belief systems, of old paradigms, of old stories, and we can usually find these in the complaints, the shoulds. They should have, or I should have. And this is how it runs us, because we actually beat the drum. So what if I told you that belief is actually physics? It's actually physics. Belief is energy, focusable energy that you can measure and track. Look at the results in your life. You'll see your belief system showing up in your life. Tony Robbins says it's something like, where focus goes, energy flows. And I also once heard it described as an engine. When you start up an engine, it goes somewhere. It takes you somewhere, right? Like a car, like a vehicle. So when you start your belief systems up, now all of a sudden you're down that path. And that's how it works. I recently heard a really interesting narrative from a woman who's working on paying attention, but she's on a date, and the man that she's on the date with pays with cash. That just triggered her, because men that pay with cash on a date are married. She had a story, a situation. Yes, and so even though she paid attention to it, still came up nonetheless. It was a trigger that she had to work through, right, and talk through. Very interesting. So if I want to live a happy life, happily in the world, but I have belief systems and narratives that keep me miserable, that keep me sad, that keep me in anxiety, that keep me frustrated, that keep me in lack, you name it, right? Then I can't live that happy life that I want. And if all I do is point my finger out, it was that situation, it was that thing, then what's the resolution there, right? So taking the time to go inward and look, when we keep rehearsing the things over and over that we don't want, this is how they run our lives. And it takes a conscious, willing commitment to say, you know what, hey, I'm suffering. This thing showed up. This belief system had me triggered where I think you're wrong and I'm right. And so let me just pause. Let me just pause and say, hey, I don't want to live in the reaction, because that's just me viewing everything through this unconscious lens of past conditioning. And I want to be new and renewed, have a renewed mind, because this is what happens. Is I have a belief system that's right, and when the conditions match it, I'm happy. When the conditions don't match it, I'm not happy. And so when we want to fully step into the afternoon of our lives, taking a look at the morning programs that are running is a good idea. How powerful are the beliefs? Well, we know that thoughts create. There was a story about a class that was getting ready to take midterm exams or something. They're all very, very stressed out. So they broke the class into two groups, and somebody of authority, psychologist or something, came to them and told one group that stress is really good. It's really going to help you on this exam. It's going to help you focus. You're going to really do well because, this energy works for you with taking an exam. The other group is told, your stress is a hindrance. It's going to cause confusion. You're not going to be clear. You're going to forget everything. So they all went in to take the exam. What group did better? The group, of course, that truly believed that this stress that they were experiencing was helping them, that was offering them clarity and focus. And they did very well on their exams. So described in one way or another in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Quran, in the Bible, in the Torah, in metaphysical books, in self-help books, is belief. This idea of belief. Because belief creates. What we believe creates. So we're looking at this universal law. And whether you really understand how it works or not, it's working in your life. You may not be paying close attention to it, but whatever you believe is the vibration you are holding. And that is what comes into your life. So what happens with belief systems and religious religions is that they take a lot of times these mighty teachings about this universal law and others and squish it down into this little box, and they lose what the message really represents, which is that the human being, we, are here to awaken to this deeper consciousness, this deeper meaning of life, and to also be a conduit for spirit. And so people get words and stuff all mixed up and kind of lose that. That's the truth. So if we're to be a conduit, think of a pipe, something's going through it like water, and there's a clog or there's a block, you just stop the flow. Bam! This is what happens with us with certain things that come up, triggers the belief systems that we hold. It just stops us right in our tracks, stops our flow, and then there we are. We're in a funk, we're anxious, we're upset, we're mad at them. And so we just slow ourselves down when that happens. We completely slow ourselves down. So when we take control of our mind from this conscious space and learn new cognitive behavior tools, focus on meditation, look at where you're going instead of repeating where you've been, things will shift in your life. Napoleon Hill says that there's a difference between wishing, just wishing and hoping for something, and being ready to receive it. When you're ready to receive, you're a vibrational match. You're a vibrational match. So you can't be, wanting, more money in your bank account, but feeling so lack mentality. You're not a vibrational match then. It just doesn't match up. So it's not mere hope and wish. It's rather a strong belief. And one of the stories I really love from the Bible is the David and Goliath story, because I feel like this really exemplifies this universal law. Jennifer, I have water if Evelyn wants. Oh, okay. Excuse me. David and Goliath. So David is the youngest son of Jesse. Samuel the prophet is told he's going to anoint one of Jesse's sons king. So Samuel travels to Jesse, knocks on the door, figures it's probably going to be the eldest son, and he seems like a good candidate, but nope, God puts the kibosh on that. That's not the anointed one. Goes through all the 7 sons and says, do you have any more sons? And Jesse says, well, yeah, my son David, my youngest son, he's out in the, with the sheep. Yeah, bring him. Yes, this is the son. We anoint him. Even after he's anointed by Samuel, he goes back out to tend the sheep. And brothers and everybody go off with Saul's army to fight the Philistines. And here comes Goliath every day threatening. They're really scared. They don't know what to make of this big giant. And so then David is actually sent by Jesse to just bring them some food, bring nourishment to the brothers in the army. He shows up there and he looks at Goliath and he looks at Saul and he says, I can take that guy down. And Saul's going, you little shepherd boy, And he goes, yeah, I take down bears and tigers all the time protecting my sheep. I can take this guy. And he goes and he collects 5 stones. And he doesn't collect 5 stones because he thinks he's going to miss Goliath. He collects 5 stones because Goliath has like 4 other cousins in his army with him. He knows he's going to hit Goliath with 1 stone. And then Saul's like, well, take my armor, put it on, and he says, no, I've got to show up as me. As me. I know I can do this as me. He goes out there, chucks the stone, hits Goliath, and that's the story. He believed. I love the story because he believed in himself. He believed, he knew, without a doubt. So when you believe without a doubt, everything else goes out the door. You're a vibrational match. So how do we restore? Restore. So is take back to your original programming. So your belief system is based upon your evaluation of something. You've evaluated it, you've made this belief system, and frequently when we look back and we reevaluate, oftentimes we change our mind about things. So you know how our technology today, our iPads, our phones, our computers, and how they'll say, update, time for update, update. we actually do this with ourselves, except we're updating the very things we don't want in our lives, you know, whether it be our negative opinions or our heavy emotions or our difficult relatives or our achy knee or our extra weight or our rude neighbors, and we re-examine it and we talk about it and we live it and we keep updating it. So it's not actually like residual. We update it. So when your program says update, just click no. No update for me. If you want to be tuning into and hearing what radio station 93.2 is saying, which is inner peace, healthy relationships, abundance, joy, fill in the blank for what you desire for your life. But you keep tuning into 103.7, which is anger and upset and frustration and conflict. You will not hear what's on the other radio station because when you tune into the frequency, that's what you receive. That's what you're going to hear. And there's no way around that. That's just the way it is. So what you choose to see determines your reality. You have the power to change your reality. That's pretty exciting. Because your original programming is to be the highest manifestation. We know that is infinite. Whatever you want. So in the book, The Presence Process, the author writes, when life upsets you, it's a setup. It's a setup. In other words, life is giving you the exact set of experiences that you need in order to see the spells, I loved that, the spells which you took on, that you made up, and create your cloud bank of struggle. And they come up so they can be dispelled, so you can shine your light and attention on it so they can be dispelled. Mary O'Malley says it like this, I love this. Life is a setup to bring up what has been bound up so it can open up to be freed up so you can show up for your life. You love that? This is where transformation is really fun because you go from information to transformation. And when you get into this level of consciousness where life is for you and never against you, you trust. And then you stop feeling like you have to mold and sculpt and structure everything just the way you think it needs to be, and you just start opening up to what's showing up now. And instead of tightening and turning away from experiences because they feel uncomfortable or they trigger you, you turn toward them and you open up and you say, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready for this expansion. I'm ready to step into the afternoon of my life. And that's exciting. So beneath our personality, beyond our belief systems, what is there? Our soul, God, pure presence. We all have a different name for this. But whatever the name is you use for that space beyond all of that, there isn't any black, white, right, wrong, good, bad, my way, your way. It doesn't exist there. It's peace. And you don't have to buy into those stories, those certain models of the world that were created whenever they were created. So I've contemplated this a long time, and through experience and trial and error, I have come to find that being okay with the unknown, being okay and allowing and embracing the gray areas of life is really the space where we transform from belief systems to everything is just right on. So it's always opening up to the possibilities and not thinking you know how something should look. Sometimes we think we know how something should look. In Buddhism, you'll hear the word detachment. So what we want to do is we want to focus on what we do want, because we like familiarity, right? We talked about that. So make what isn't familiar now familiar. So by focusing on what you do want. and allowing peace with the gray areas. So this is a conscious practice. So it's like you're deciding, you're declaring. It's like I'm going to learn a new language, or I'm going to learn to read music. I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to put my mind to it. Steve Jobs said that you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backward. And so you have to trust that the dots will connect in the future. But if you keep deciding and making things look like what you know, the dots that will connect in the past, you're just going to get more of the same over and over. So as we activate our brain cells, whatever the vehicle, the engine starts, we set up a vibration in our body. And the vibration is something that we have to understand and take responsibility for if we're going to create the life that we want. So the vibration is a feeling tone. The vibration, so this universal law is not exactly like we're manifesting the car out there, because you have to go deeper than the car. You want the Maserati. No, you don't want the Maserati. What do you want? You want to feel worthy? You want to feel freedom? What does that represent? Go deeper. Go deeper is the feeling tone. So I have a chalkboard in my kitchen. It's about that big. And every day, or every couple of days, I write something on it. Either a word, or sometimes a scripture, sometimes a quote, sometimes just something that comes through me. So this one particular day, I wrote, "Something wonderful is happening." That's it. About 6 hours later, I get a call from my husband. I lost my job. And my belief system, you know, that invisible little mechanism, said, "Oh no, that's no good. That's a bad thing. That's a horrible thing to happen. We have braces to pay for and car payments, and no way, that's not a good thing." I went, "Whoa, who just said that?" Because I know something wonderful is happening. My belief system had a story that isn't wonderful. Losing your job isn't wonderful. What the heck? It could be very wonderful, right? So just shift back into the feeling tone of that, which is what I did. Something wonderful is happening. I didn't think it was going to look like this, but bring it on. Because something wonderful is happening. And that's the feeling tone I began to tap into. And how empowering to know that I have the key, you have the key to your perfect programming that you can tap into anytime and shift and change your vibration. I think it was Napoleon Hill who said, "No more effort is required in life to aim high, to aim low." So take that same effort into the beating the drum of the complaints and the shoulds and move the vibration somewhere else, higher. You want to feel confident and pleased with yourself? Stop criticizing yourself and start praising yourself every single day. Every day. You were truly born with a perfect mind. Perfect mind. And you came to earth and you didn't have any messages of untruths or half-truths. And then you were led to believe things. And it fettered these beautiful, perfect minds. So we don't have to live that way. The deeds, the actions, the words that were told to you, they didn't have anything to do with your truth. So, let them go. In summary, it's a simple process to create belief systems. Pay attention to your vibration. Really pay attention to it. Ask yourself, what's causing my triggers? Pause. It takes that pause. And then practice beating the drum of what you do want. Locate the real desire within you. That's what you do want, the real desire. This is not the desire that somebody told you to have or you took on because you thought it was pleasing for this situation or for this person. It's not what's fashionable in style right now, what's a good job right now. No. This is the desire that was placed within you. That is your core truth. And then, whatever that is, just see it. Feel it. Know it to be true in your life. Whatever that is. You really think about that. What is that core desire of yours? You see it to be true. Know the fiber of it. Don't question it. That's the way of creation. Getting in the vibration of it. So you begin to speak your truth. Rehearse your truth. Really. Wake up in the morning, say, I am vibrant. I have so much energy. Tell your family members and your neighbors, I am joyful. Everything good comes into my life. Tell your doctor that your body is an amazing, miraculous healing machine. Tell your neighbors that your neighborhood is so blessed and only good things come into your neighborhood because you pray over it. Tell your bank teller that you're funding your dreams. I think that was Lisa Nichols. Tell your bank teller you're funding your dreams and your account is growing exponentially. Tell your cashier that her smile is changing the world, and then watch how your words change her whole day, maybe her whole life. When you're in prayer, instead of the why me, go with why not me? Why not me? Thank you, God, for this opportunity, an opportunity that I get to grow and glow, and especially know, absolutely know, without a doubt, that I am divine. Look at yourself every single day and say, I'm an amazing beacon of light. Because you are. You are an amazing beacon of light. Affirm yourself. Say out loud, I am receptive. I receive all the good into my life. This is no joke. These things work. Tell yourself, I'm strong. I'm powerful. Things come easy to me. My relationships are healthy and fun and productive. Own it. Claim it. Say, I'm a charged up conduit of radiant light energy. I'm a charged up conduit, and you just let it flow. You just keep letting it flow. No blocks. No blocks. Look in the mirror every day and say, I am enough. I am worthy. I am loved. And then watch the old dissolve, and the new arise in your life. Because it will happen. It does happen. When you begin to shift your vibration. Remember one time I told you the story about when you order the hamburger in the restaurant? You don't spend the next 15 minutes after you order that hamburger waiting for it saying, oh, is it going to come? Is it going to be missing a bun? Am I really going to get a hamburger? No, you order it up and you never think about it again until they bring it to you. You never wonder if you're going to get a hamburger. Do that. Know that something wonderful is happening. In every moment, in every situation, with every person. Know it. In old belief systems, they can come in, show up, and you just say, okay, that's not my belief anymore. So I trust today that you precious people, friends, will step out into the afternoon of your lives with a renewed spirit, a refreshed perspective, a restored mind, discovering who you really are beneath everything else, consciously creating the very life that you want. So it is.
So good.